Hello Weathering fans, and welcome to our 20th Race for Terra Community Spotlight. In today's video you will have the chance to see 5 different projects, namely a Shilka, a speeder truck, a pair of Vindicators, a rendition of Abaddon versus Loken, and a Toyota Technical. In other words, 2 scale models, 2 figures, a flying bus, and 2 tanks with preposterous guns. All in one video. Get ready, guys! This is Stefan's 8th entry to date, following an amazing Machine & Krieger model, which was rather different to the Shilka. Stefan started working on this project in spring 2023, then took a couple of breaks here and there, and only recently finished it. Bearing in mind the scope of this project and the beautiful finish that he has achieved, I believe it's right and proper that he described it as his magnum opus. When I asked him about the greatest challenge involved, naturally Stefan mentioned how this project had been a marathon rather than a sprint, and how he broke it down into stages, taking his time with each in order to ensure success. That sort of process comes more naturally to some people than to others, but for me personally, I think it's a really important lesson that I would like to share with all our viewers. Most of us are either wargamers or we started as wargamers, and with that come certain expectations and habits, like a very high production rate of painted models, but most typically all crammed before a game or tournament. You know what I'm talking about. One of you guys once said that painting as a wargamer, as a result, often means aiming for what can get you the most results with the least amount of effort. And I think Stefan's Shilka is the diametric opposite of that. In fact, I think it's a really good example of how going for the very opposite might be a good idea for many of us. Hell, it might even be therapeutic, ironically enough. What do I mean by that? Well, it's about forgetting the product altogether, and especially getting there as quickly as possible, and about enjoying the process instead. But back to Stefan's model. He explains that one of his main goals was to try, and I quote, multiple chipped layers of desert tones with modulation going from darker colors in the bottom to lighter colors on top. He combined this with oil paint rendering, or OPR, and other techniques, and I think it's this attention to detail that really took the Shilka to the next level. At the same time, Stefan also described the figures and the diorama as both a palate cleanser for him and a break of sorts, which really resonated with me. To sum up, Stefan, thank you for providing us with inspiration, both in terms of technique and in how to approach the hobby. This is Jose's first entry to date in our community spotlight, even though he's a prolific painter and an active member of our community. This is clearly a project of firsts. It was Jose's first time painting a vehicle black, his first time using liquid mask chipping, and the first time that he used Tamiya Clear Red to create tinted windows. Well, Jose, I think our viewers will agree that all 3 were really good choices. As Jose himself stated, the main lesson he learned was not to be afraid of experimenting with new techniques. He also explains that what he enjoyed the most was removing the masking to unveil his work underneath. I think we all feel the same way about those moments. Jose has also been enjoying the Ammo DO dry brush specific paints, which he used for the chipping layer. He also kindly pointed out that one of my now ancient Lemon Rust videos from way back in 2020 served as inspiration for this project, which for me is really cool to hear. Thank you, Jose. For my part, I can say that I loved the A-Team concept, and that you have inspired me to tackle the A5 speeder truck in my own stash. That vehicle is so cool. Same as we derived a valuable lesson from Stefan's Shilka, I think there's also a clear moral to this story. As Jose said himself, trying new things is one of the most rewarding aspects of this hobby. Your bold, unconventional color scheme, Jose, conveys yet another lesson, that we should paint the things that inspire us and do it the way that we want. In conclusion, Jose, great job. I love it when a plan comes together. This is Lee's 5th Spotlight entry to date, with previous entries consisting of not only world leaders, but also space orcs, and even a Spitfire before. This pair of Vindicators were also a canvas for Lee to try a new technique, namely the use of enamel filters, which she used on some of the white panels to create some tonal variation. She explains that this was a unique process, very different to the oil filters that she was used to. In fact, she tells us that brushing on the enamel filter is a bit more like contrast paint. Lee also enjoyed a new twist on an old technique, using metallic pigments rubbed onto the tracks to convey that extra layer of realism. Most importantly, Lee explains, and I quote, "I did get a lot of feedback from our Discord on this project as I posted a ton of pictures, trying to get the areas looking how I wanted. Especially," she adds, "we had a good discussion about the tracks." Personally, I think that this really exemplifies the ethos of our small but tightly knit Discord community. Rather than just offering a thumbs up here or there, most members go out of their way to provide genuine, helpful feedback, particularly when someone needs advice, a reference, or just bouncing ideas off someone. Going back to the tanks, I noticed how Lee identified the rust streaks as one of the most fun aspects of the entire project. She explains this well when she mentions that she was, as always, trying for those perfect rust streaks. Well, aren't we all, Lee? I'm very much looking forward to your next Spotlight entry. What shall it be next time? Same as Jose, this is Silas's first time on our Community Spotlight. Silas joined us recently but has been super active in our Discord and really prolific as a painter. Any Horus Heresy fan among our viewers will surely agree that Silas couldn't have chosen a better project for his first submission. This seminal model, created by Simon Egan and released back in 2013, is one of the best examples of true artisan resin sculpting that Forge World ever achieved, and Silas has really done it justice, which is no mean feat. Better yet than these amazing results is the story behind Silas's work. He completed this as a Christmas gift for his father, and he did so after struggling with an eyesight problem for months, which had really robbed him of his enjoyment for the hobby. Having found a solution to his health issue only a few weeks ago, Silas was able to complete this amazing project, which he describes as a huge breakthrough for me and my journey of hobbying. Silas explains that what he enjoyed the most was the narrative aspect of the build. He explains, and I quote, "I really like the idea of good versus evil, and wanted Loken in white to make him feel more like the good guy. As a result, Silas printed a Luna Wolf's shoulder pad, and to me this represents what the Horus Heresy is all about: storytelling. In fact, while I really like your Abaddon, Silas, I think you knocked it out of the park with this Luna Wolf's Loken. So Silas, congratulations on your breakthrough, and may this be the first of many Spotlight entries for you." This Toyota Technical marks Rick's 10th entry to date in our Community Spotlight. Yes, you heard correctly, 10th. Rick explains that this build represents a typical technical fitted with a Dushka, and in particular one from the YPG, or People's Protection Units, fighting against the Islamic State in Syria. Like Stefan's before, Rick's build pretty much exemplifies the very opposite of a quick job. In fact, Rick didn't like the finish that he was getting on the vehicle's camo, so he stripped the paint and redid it not once, but 3 times. The lesson to learn from this, as Rick put it, is to keep at it, no surrender. Well, I couldn't agree more, Rick. When I asked him what he had enjoyed the most, Rick pointed out elements like the cracked, dusty windscreens, the grubby tires, the dash flag in the mud, or the poster. Oh, and speaking of the flag, he made that with puree tubing and wire, which has become sort of Rick's calling card as a modeler. Another one is the decals that he makes himself. Those are the sort of details that really elevate a build like this. Rick concludes, "Most of all, I enjoyed making something as a tribute to the brave young women of the YPG who took the fight to Islamic State and helped evict them from Rojava." Well, Rick, I happen to have Syrian colleagues. In fact, and I've had several students who were Syrian refugees. So I very much sympathize. Well done, sir, and may you continue to find subjects like this which really inspire you. Your ingenuity has in turn really inspired me. So you can expect me to pester you with questions about stuff like that windshield very soon. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's Spotlight as much as I have. Our next one will take place in May. Once again, I would like to thank everyone who is supporting me as a YouTube member. Your generosity helps me keep the lights on, and your positive energy makes everyone feel right at home in our Discord. Thank you all, and remember, keep it up and weather it out.